This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And by now, I'm sure you heard the news already that Kyrie Irving has been traded to the Dallas Mavericks. And yes, this is a Knicks channel, but, you know, this is big news, right? And it's New York news, so we'll talk about it a little bit. I got the Queen with me. Now we're going to go ahead and break this one down, ladies and gentlemen, and then talk about the Knicks versus the 76ers in just a couple of hours. Steph, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Sam, good to see you. Seems like it's been a long it has been a long time.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, and coming back on the channel with you is like coming home for sure. So I was like, I ain't been on MBK in a minute. Let me try to coordinate this. So super excited about the show and sharing the panel with you. And let's get into Kyrie Irving and let's get into the Knicks.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Adrian Wojnarowski at about 3:00 or somewhere around there announced that the Nets are trading Kyrie Irving to the to the Mavericks. Then he follows it up by saying the Mavericks are sending Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, a 2027 first-round pick, second round picks to the Nets. That doesn't seem like a great haul for Kyrie Irving, but obviously with everything that goes on with Kyrie, it may be a little bit tougher to move him. Well, I guess it was a little bit tougher to move him, so they get Spencer Dinwiddie back, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2027 first-round pick and second-round picks. For the Mavericks, that has to feel like a steal, right? Obviously, the Nets, since his time being in Brooklyn has been rocky, just about from the beginning. You know what I mean? All this talk when Kyrie and KD went there, the Nets are about to take over the city and all of this crazy talk. And here you go right now. This is what it is. Kyrie gone. Next will be Kevin Durant. The Nets will be back down to the bottom of the league or something. Back winning 12 games a season or something like that. You know what I mean? But what's your take on it, though? Kyrie what happens with Brooklyn? Mm-hmm. How's it impact the Dallas Mavericks? Can it work with Luka?
I think for the Nets, they're not championship contenders anymore. And I think KD, right, if not already, I'm just getting in, he might be on his way out the door as well. I can't imagine him staying with Brooklyn, even though he signed an extension last year or something like that, if not this year. I can't see him wanting to stay there, and they're not championship contenders.
Right.
But Dallas, it's an experiment to see if it's going to work, between those two high usage guys, and not just high usage, they both play their best with the ball in their hands.
Right.
So that's going to be, something to watch out for. And there'll be fallout over that as well. If they want to re-sign Kyrie, can they still sign Christian Wood? So there'll be fallout, from there, as well, with other pieces that I don't know if we would be interested in him, but still there's going to be fallout roster wise. And he didn't sign an extension, so he's still going to be an unrestricted free agent. So he's basically a rental, right? It wasn't a signage.
No.
So he's basically a rental, which is probably why they were able to get him without much compensation, because they're risking the fact that he may leave.
And this may be this could end up being a good situation for Kyrie, though, because Mark Cuban is like a player's owner, I think.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say he's going to bow down to Kyrie, but they may be a little bit more on the same page
Right.
mentally, or if
Right.
you want to say. You know what I mean? And what Kyrie's goals are and how Mark Cuban runs the Dallas Mavericks and the way that he is. They may be on the same page a little bit more, you know. So maybe this works for Kyrie better.
Maybe.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know. It's you know, it's crazy. The NBA can change in an instant.
They had just won 18 of 20, like had won 18 of 20 or had went on this long winning streak. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they're 32-20 in the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, 2.5 games behind Philadelphia for the 3rd seed, just 4.5 games behind the Boston Celtics for the number 1 seed. All that now is done. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie can play. He's a good basketball player.
No doubt about it.
Right? You know what I mean? But, you know, he's not Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? But, who knows, though? Maybe it works better for Brooklyn with Spencer Dinwiddie. But still, you're leaving, you know, Kevin Durant. Yeah, I don't know. Kevin Durant's not that kind of a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe Spencer Dinwiddie is. I don't know. But I see it probably breaking down. Kevin Durant moving on to someplace else. You know what I mean? Would you have any interest in Kevin Durant coming to the Knicks?
Sam, the way the Knicks have been playing, had you asked me in the beginning of the season, I would say no. The Knicks are just not on that timeline. They seem to be a few years away. The way Randall has bounced back, the way Brunson, in my opinion, is a budding star in this league. Neither one has yet to reach their ceiling, in my opinion.
Right.
The Knicks are closer to being contenders than we think if they get the right pieces. I don't think we're talking 3, 4, 5 years from now. We're talking like it, depending on who they bring, it can be instant.
Yeah, I agree.
Depending on who they bring in, right?
I'm a little bit leery. I'm just leery because, you know, I mean, I look at where we are. I'd rather bring in someone that's more that 25, 26, 27, 28.
Yes, preferably.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. You know, that can then, you know, be with Brunson and Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, or, you know, one of those guys would be moved. And right now it looks like it would be RJ if somebody was going to be moved to bring in a star. Because, you know, then they can, you know, they can reach their primes together. I mean, you know, Julius Randle is probably just beginning his prime. Jalen Brunson still maybe has to reach his prime. Obviously, RJ is years away from his prime. Right. Where Kevin Durant, I don't know if you say he's on the downside of his prime, but he's at the plateau point at least. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the only place to go from here is probably down. And then, you know, the injury history, you know, that he has recently, the recent injury history, you know, the age, obviously it accelerates everything just like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Does.
So, you know, I'm a little bit leery of it. Obviously, I said it, I think the other night, if the Knicks were to trade for him, you know, I'll be behind him 100%. And if the Knicks trade for Kevin Durant, in my opinion, RJ Barrett is gone.
Right.
Right. He's probably going to be in Brooklyn if that were to happen. Right. You know, because that's what I would see.
But you're right. The window would be tight. You got like what, 2-3 years to make it happen.
You got to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if KD came to the Knicks, and as long as he's playing, I would say that they're probably pretty close to being contenders, depending on the haul that went to Brooklyn, right? You know, if you were able to, RJ would definitely go in the package, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But if you was able to keep Quentin Grimes and Emmanuel quickly off the bench, and then you added some other pieces, Melo would. If that happened at the trade deadline, Carmelo Anthony would be a Knick. I can guarantee you, because Obi probably goes in that trade. Right. You know what I mean? Carmelo Anthony would be a Knick. You know, I mean, you'd be going for it right now, I think.
Yeah, you would have to maximize his window, right?
You'd be going for it right now. You would be going for trying to win a championship. You know, you might be looking to say, well, maybe we don't do it this year, but we get as many pieces in we can, and then next year, like, we're going for broke.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm leery of it. I'm very leery of it. But if they were to do it, I mean, if the Nets came calling, and they probably wouldn't trade him to the Knicks, in my opinion. I can't
Right.
see that
Yeah,
happening.
I
Not in
agree.
your not the
I
Knicks.
agree. Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Not just your division, but in your
And
backyard.
they're not gonna, so there's no way
Yeah,
in
I
my
agree.
mind, I don't think there's any way that he ends up a Knick. They'll trade him to the West Coast or something like that, I guess. You know what I mean? To the West, but they wouldn't. That to me, that would be stupid. That would be, like, you would kill your team.
Right.
And even though I will say it was more media who said Brooklyn was going to take over New York when KD and Kyrie and them came in, they were kind of like, it's not about just New York City. We're trying to win championships and this and that, right? I think they understood we're not going to have the biggest fan base in New York City. I think they understood that, so they didn't have that kind of a mentality. Although Kevin Durant said the things he said, the Knicks aren't popular or cool no more and all that kind of stuff. But the Brooklyn Nets, they're not stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it would look bad. You're gonna lose all your fans anyway. Now you're gonna lose them to the Knicks.
Right.
What fans you have. So yeah, you could probably forget that.
Wow.
You could probably forget that. But you never know. You never know what happens in this league. It's it's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, Kyrie Irving on his way to the Dallas Mavericks. Do we play? Oh, we don't play the Mavericks again.
No,
we played them
them
twice
already. Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't play them again.
Well, we play the Nets two more times. Maybe we can pick up 2 more games. Maybe.
Right,
maybe.
exactly. I mean, looking at the Nets though, do you think they can stay in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean,
adding
listen,
Spencer Dinwiddie?
if they don't trade KD, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because Cam Thomas now is gonna get more light as well. He's a scorer. He's not Kyrie now. Let's not go crazy. But I think they could still be in the playoff play-in conversation.
Yeah.
Because you got KD.
Because you got KD. I mean, Spencer
Yeah.
Dinwiddie, he's averaging 17, almost just about 18 points a game, 5.3 assists per game. Right. And now you're talking about, in Dallas, it was basically Luka. He's the point guard. He's doing everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As far as facilitating for other people. He comes back to the Nets. He basically can be the facilitator. And we've seen Spencer Dinwiddie, go on stretches where he'd average 20 and 10, 20 points and 10 assists.
Correct. Yep.
You know what I mean? Plays a different style of game than Kyrie. So it's probably going to be a little bit more free flowing. I think they might be able to stay right there in the playoff conversation for real with Spencer Dinwiddie as their starting point guard, and then you get a defensive wing 3-and-D type of guy in Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yep.
Maybe they even got better.
Hard to say you give away Kyrie and you got better. But listen, they had pieces on their bench as well. You got to think about, there were guys on that team who was probably sacrificing because of those high usage guys.
Right.
Right. And who now will have more of an opportunity to shine and be a more balanced team. Look how they were when KD was out, at least against us, and how those guys stepped up. So they're not falling, in my opinion. I don't think they're falling to the bottom of the Eastern Conference with KD.
And the reason why I say maybe they even got better is the camaraderie in the locker room, the chemistry. Not as much media, not as much attention on just one guy. Meaning Kyrie. You know what I mean? Spencer Dinwiddie's had his injury history as well, but not as much in and out of the lineup as Kyrie and stuff. Now they might be able to be more cohesive.
Right. Yes.
you know.
Addition by subtraction.
Yeah, exactly. So
In a way, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll see. And I guess we'll see what the fallout. There's going to be some kind of fallout from that, and maybe Now, I mean, the trade deadline is just 4 days away. Maybe we'll see some other things in motion. Although this just happened a couple of days ago, but I'm pretty sure around the league, people kind of knew, Kyrie may request a trade. I don't know if he requested it then, but I'm pretty sure somewhere around the league, people knew that it was a possibility. So maybe some things were slowed up, and we'll see a little bit more movement at the trade deadline, specifically with the Knicks. Not that the Knicks were tied to Kyrie, but there may have been other moves that the Knicks were tied to that were waiting to see what happened with Kyrie Irving.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, we'll see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, too bad it wasn't James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers were in flux coming into this game. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
they're not. They are, as a matter of fact, they're pretty much fully healthy, right? For the Knicks tonight, Mitchell Robinson continues to be out. And then Joel Embiid for the 76ers is he's questionable for tonight. I think he probably plays, but he's questionable for tonight. I would like to, I want the Knicks to get a win first and foremost.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see him get a win if, with Philadelphia being healthy. I think the last time the Knicks beat them, Joel Embiid wasn't there. So I'd like to see it, but the Knicks just need to go ahead and get a win, regardless of which way it is. I don't care. The Knicks got to get a win. After losing to, who they lose to last night?
Clippers.
Clippers. After losing to the Clippers
They
last
couldn't
night.
get a timely rebound.
Couldn't get a timely rebound. That bothers me so much, though.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Just grab. This isn't the, you look at the Dallas game, speaking of Dallas.
Yep.
Right? When the Mavericks came back like that in the last however many seconds, they couldn't get the timely rebounds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those things are such a small thing that's so critical. Yep. Grab a timely rebound. Just think about it. If you grab a timely, the Knicks are what, 28 and 26? You grab a timely rebound in those two basketball games. Right. You grab those rebounds, you're now 30 and 24. A big difference.
That's a big difference.
Right? A big difference from 28 to 26 to 30 and 24. Just those little things. And of course, we can count, as many different games. You can look at so many different games where the Knicks blew leads or whatever it was. But when looking at these two games, like, these are grabbing a rebound.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you win those basketball games, and you could have let me see. Right now in the Eastern Conference, if the Knicks were 30 and 24, they'd be in the 6th seed. The Miami Heat are 29 and 25. Those two games right there, 2 rebounds away. The Knicks are 2 rebounds away from being in the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. Right. That has to bother you a little bit, as a coach, as players, to know that, man, for the most part, I think the Knicks really do try to do little things and get those little things done. But when you miss out on them and they're in the spotlight like that, it'll bother you. It'll bother you. But the Knicks play the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. The 76ers are on a tear right now, ladies and gentlemen. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They're currently 3rd in the Eastern Conference. This is going to be a tough one for them to get, in my opinion. I do. I think it's going to be a tough one because they're playing good basketball. James Harden is probably going to be on a tear because he's upset that he didn't get voted into the All-Star game or chosen into the All-Star game. You know what I mean? So he's looking to prove a point. You got a guy in Julius Randle who did get chosen to be in the All-Star game where he's probably looking like, oh, yeah, okay, well, we're going to find out tonight. Kind of the way 2 years ago when Julius Randle was chosen to be in the All-Star game and Tobias Harris was left out. You know what I'm saying? And, he hit some clutch shots against the Knicks and, screamed out, who's the All-Star, something like that. You know what I mean? I could see James Harden ready to, prove his point. But what's your take on this game tonight? You're muted, Steph.
It's hard to count the Knicks out because anytime you look at a schedule, you look at a game and you be like, I don't know, we got the second toughest schedule, blah, 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 blah. They went two and they went two straight. I think it depends on if our best guys show up. When
Right.
Randall and Brunson both show up and they're able to, play well, we're a different team. And we're right in there with everybody else. So, Philly's been playing well. Part of that is the connection between Harden and Embiid. They've kind of got a little flow, now going since he's been on the team for a while. They've been playing together for a while. But I wouldn't count the Knicks out because every time, at least I do that, they have they have a great game. But I think it is going to be a challenge. You got Embiid without Mitch. Hartenstein has been playing better. I'm sure we'll talk about the matchups. He ain't stopping Embiid,
Right.
but having that size, hopefully helps some. I think we're gonna be all right, Sam. I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll be okay too. I know we're going to compete. My question is, can we pull it out? Can we? But I agree. Every time we look and say, oh, it's a tough schedule, it's a tough team, they find a way to stand up and get a win or really can, really compete. I mean, this just happened against. I mean, they should have won last night, but against Miami,
Yes.
I thought they were going to beat Miami. I felt like, this was. I felt like Miami was like the older brother, right? And the Knicks this year, finally figured out how to beat the older brother. You know what I mean? And I feel like the Knicks will be able to. They're not going to win every game, but I feel like they can continue to beat Miami when they play them. They can split that series or something like that. It's been, pretty tough. It's been a pretty tough, series between the two, and pretty tough on the Knicks. Philadelphia is one of those teams too. The Knicks kind of, they play them tight. But they don't always pull out those wins. I mean, obviously they did when Joel Embiid is out, but when they're fully healthy, the Knicks have struggled to beat the Philadelphia 76ers. So I think it's another one of those teams that the Knicks have got to figure out how do we beat them. It's almost, just the growth process of them becoming a really good basketball team. I don't count them out though, because I do think they match up well. Besides Joel Embiid, you know what I mean? Joel Embiid is a different animal all by himself. Jericho Sims has got to guard him tonight. Well, at least for the amount of time that Jericho Sims is going to be in the game. Sims and Hartenstein has got to guard him tonight. That's a difficult matchup for both of them. But for the Knicks to project the starting lineups, ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Jericho Sims. And for the Philadelphia 76ers, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Tobias Harris, P.J. Tucker, Joel Embiid. All right, that's they got a lot of talent there on that squad, beginning with Tyrese Maxey and ending with Joel Embiid. They got some good pieces there. My question to you is, who do you see guarding who? And I actually have Jalen Brunson on this defensive matchup list twice. I mean to have Quentin Grimes guarding Tyrese Maxey. That's what I meant. Quentin Grimes on Tyrese Maxey, R.J. Barrett on James Harden, Julius Randle on Tobias Harris, Jalen Brunson on P.J. Tucker, Jericho Sims, and Joel Embiid. Guarding Joel Embiid. As far as the starting lineups, what's your thoughts on the defensive matchups?
Yeah, this is gonna be tough. R.J. Barrett on who's left? I think I would put Grimes on Harden, and I would try to hide R.J. Barrett on P.J. Tucker.
Would you? Okay, because you think he's playing that bad on defensively?
Defensively, and P.J. Tucker is not he's not an offensive juggernaut. He's not that tall. either. But Barrett on Harden, nah, I would put Brunson on Harden before I put Barrett on. Even though Barrett does have the length and he does have some good possessions. In all fairness, he does have some good possessions. But RJ Barrett, to me, defensively, looks like, I don't know. We saw him in open practice. He didn't look heavy at all.
Right.
But
see,
even when you see him run up the court, look like he's, lumbering, a
yeah,
little bit.
I'm concerned about Brunson on Tyrese Maxey. If you're putting,
Mm-hmm.
if you're putting,
Right.
if you're putting Grimes on Harden and RJ on PJ Tucker,
Right.
I'm pretty concerned about
Brunson and Maxey.
Right? Because I think Maxey, Maxey can go. You know what I mean? He can play it. So I'm concerned about that matchup there. Obviously, you got James Harden. The only, as far as size, the only person that Brunson, I guess, could really match up with is Tyrese Maxey when you're talking about size.
Right.
But as far as him being able, can he stay in front of Tyrese Maxey?
Right.
It's a tough one. This is a tough one defensively for the Knicks.
It is.
Because
Now,
they're fully healthy.
What they're saying in the chat, and I think I may have heard this, is that Maxey has moved back to the bench.
Oh, has he?
And Milton is starting.
Shake Milton is starting?
Not Milton. Is it Milton?
Yeah, I think it's Shake.
Not Shake Milton. Milton. The other guy. What's Milton's first name? I know there's a Milton.
Let me see.
So if that's the case, what's his name? What's his first name?
Let me see. Let me go. I'm looking at their rosters.
DeAnthony Melton.
Oh, DeAnthony Melton. Okay.
Right. DeAnthony Melton.
So in the last game, I guess maybe he was out. Maybe DeAnthony Melton was out the last game.
Oh, I see.
I know in the last game Philadelphia played, Tyrese Maxey started.
Okay. So they may be going back and forth.
Right. So he didn't. Against San Antonio, it was DeAnthony Melton who started.
Okay.
Yep, it was DeAnthony Melton who started. James Harden, DeAnthony Melton, Joel Embiid, PJ Tucker, and Tobias Harris. So that changes. That definitely changes because you can put Brunson on DeAnthony Melton.
Right. So maybe they mix it up depending on the matchups?
Maybe. Tyrese Maxey is still giving you 20 points per game. So DeAnthony Melton, I guess they have him out there because, he's 11 points, 2.8 assists, 6'2". So that would be who Jalen Brunson is guarding in.
Right.
In my opinion, right?
Right.
So that, that definitely changes your defensive matchups there. All right. So now, if you talk about that, then definitely you have Jalen Brunson guarding DeAnthony Melton, unless you want to have, as you're saying, well, but then you can have RJ Barrett guarding PJ Tucker.
Right.
Right? You can have Jalen Brunson on DeAnthony Melton, RJ Barrett on PJ Tucker, Julius Randle on Tobias Harris, and then Quentin Grimes on James Harden. So that would definitely, that's a much better defensive matchup for the Knicks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Much better defensive matchup.
Yeah,
And
we'll
then-
see. I don't think the starting lineups are out yet.
Yeah, right.
But we'll
right.
see.
You never know if they're changing up those lineups or anything like that.
Right.
But then off the bench, you're talking about Emmanuel Quickly matching up with Tyrese Maxey, right? Which is a pretty good matchup. And Emmanuel Quickly's been playing really, really, really good defense lately. I mean, there's, talks just from other executives and reporters and people around the league that he's turning into one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. Talking about Emmanuel Quickly, one of your best on-ball defenders in the league. So, that's big for him. And I switched up the defensive matchups, ladies and gentlemen. So you see Jalen Brunson and DeAnthony Melton, Quentin Grimes on James Harden, Julius Randle on Tobias Harris, RJ Barrett on PJ Tucker, and Jericho Sims on Joel Embiid. I think those are pretty good matchups there. Yeah. And then on the bench, now you're adding Tyrese Maxey to the bench, right? Which is going to give their bench a big boost, right? Their bench against the Knicks has averaged 23.5 points per game versus the Knicks. That could very well be different tonight if Tyrese Maxey is on the bench, right? That could really change their bench output. The Knicks have averaged 29.5 points per game versus the 76ers so far this season, right? In 2 games this season, the Knicks have averaged 29.5 points, 14 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shot 48.9% from the field, 35% from three. Philadelphia 76ers, again, 23.5 points, 12.5 rebounds, 40.9% from the field, 34.6% from three. This should be a pretty good bench matchup, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
No, and I was going to say, talking about, Quickly and Tyrese Maxey, you got Shake Milton and Miles McBride, and Thibault is a defensive guy. You know what I mean? So, you got some good defense on both benches. You got some offensive guys. This should be a good bench matchup, I think.
Yeah, and our bench has been playing much better as of late, in terms of scorings, particularly that game, 2 games ago against the Heat when Quickly had to go into the starting lineup. I was like, oh, what is our bench going to look like now?
Right.
And they really stepped up and played with urgency, particularly in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And I saw that maybe 3-4 games ago that, they were shaping up, playing better, moving the ball. McBride is hitting shots. If McBride is going to hit shots, the Knicks bench is really, really improved, because that's been one of the issues with the second unit. Yep. Other than Quickly, we weren't getting much.
Right.
So now you got McBride hitting shots. iHeart has been coming along these past few games.
Mm-hmm.
The bench is really shaping up.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm really impressed with Deuce, starting to hit some shots, knock down those threes, just more confidence playing out there on the floor. Him and Julius Randle sometimes have their little, not always on the same page. I've seen it in a couple of games, but that's going to happen when you're out there on the floor. I hope there's not anything. I think it's just, him being a young guy, Julius Randle being the older guy, you know what I mean? And then figuring out, exactly what to do. You know what I mean? But, if he can knock down those 3-pointers that he's getting, occasionally go to the basket, find a couple of assists here and there, keep playing the defense he's playing, that's huge for the Knicks. Huge, really big for the Knicks if he can continue to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
he's confident, though.
Yeah, he's confident.
He'll just come pull a
right.
shot.
He'll pull it. He ain't scared to pull it. Obi's starting to hit the 3.
Yep.
So the Knicks will need that. iHeart with Mitchell Robinson is out. He's not Mitchell Robinson, but he's doing well on the glass. He's doing what he can. You know what I mean? So he's playing much better. You know what I mean? Because he's actually getting more minutes than Sims.
He is. And he looks quicker too. Like when he got that steal, I forgot which game, I think it was the Miami game. The ball was tipped or whatever, and he got out there quickly in order to, to get the steal and what have you. I said, wow, he's looking a bit more, spry as well. Timely blocks, so he seemed like he's moving a bit better.
Yeah, no doubt. And then, just looking at the team comparison, ladies and gentlemen, and when we're doing this comparison, we're looking at what they've done against each other so far this season. Their record is 1-1 versus one another. The Philadelphia 76ers, they've averaged against the Knicks 111.5 points per game. The Knicks 109 points per game. 49 rebounds for the Knicks, 38 for the Philadelphia 76ers. So the Knicks have, kind of dominated the glass against Philadelphia. Now, obviously, Mitchell Robinson's not there, right? So, that could change a little bit. But they've done well on it. They got enough rebounders, though, the Knicks. Julius Randle rebounds the ball well. Isaiah Hartenstein can rebound the ball. You know what I mean? So, they've got people that can rebound. Jericho Sims can rebound. They'll need to continue to dominate the glass, I think, today. 27 assists versus Philadelphia for the Knicks. 24 for Philadelphia. 15 turnovers, the Knicks average versus Philly, 11. Philadelphia's average versus the Knicks. The Knicks have shot the ball at 47% versus Philly, but only 32% from three, where Philadelphia's a little bit switched. They shoot it at 43.4% from the field and 36% from three. That may be, some of the, besides Joel Embiid, some of the differences in the game is that the Knicks haven't shot the ball that well from three versus Philly.
Right.
And Philly, they got some people that can really light it up from the three-point line, including Joel Embiid. You know what I mean? And that could be a difference in the game right there, besides Joel Embiid dominating the way he will likely do inside. What do you think the Knicks got to do to get this game tonight?
Well, they can't have any quarters in which there's significant scoring droughts. They have to keep this game close, right? Usually they do. Usually, maybe once or twice, they got off to a bad start. They usually start, pretty good. But you're going to have to stay, can't have any scoring droughts in any quarter. Definitely they have to do that. Randall and Brunson have to show up today. No chance if neither one of those guys show up. Both of them have to show up. And then we need some tertiary scoring. That could be RJ. But if it's not RJ, maybe it's IQ and Grimes. Maybe it's the bench that steps up collectively if RJ struggles, But we need 3 scoring punches. We need 3 scoring punches today, and we have to rebound well and take care of second chance points. So there's a lot. There's like a whole laundry list of stuff that the Knicks need to do if they want to win this game.
Yeah. A whole lot of stuff.
Don't turn the ball over.
Right. Don't turn it over. Got to shoot the ball efficiently. Definitely got to rebound if especially if you're not shooting the ball efficiently. Defensively, I think the biggest thing is going to be defensively and getting stops. Another game last night, the Knicks scored 128 points, gave up 134.
Right.
30 assists last night. Like they did the things offensively they needed to do, but they couldn't get the stops that they needed, and they couldn't get that final rebound, right, to finish the game out. They gotta do it defensively, and they've been bad defensively for a while now.
Yeah, even prior to Mitch going out.
Yeah, they've been bad defensively for a while. I don't know. They go through these stretches where they're streaks of being really good defensively and then not so good defensively. And then it ends up that, they ended up being 10 or 11 in the league, but I would like to see it just be more and more consistent.
Right.
You know what I mean? And instead of having to, at the end, look at the average, the way it averaged out, just see it being consistently good defensively every single night. But this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. I think they've got to be almost perfect. They're coming off of a back-to-back, second night on a back-to-back game. Last night's game went in overtime. A bunch of guys played 40 minutes. You know what I mean? Hopefully they got their rest last night and they're ready to go today because Philadelphia will be. They will be. They will be. But yeah, Uncle Fulio, has his little say on KD and everybody. He said that Leon should be on the phone with Sean Marks right now. RJ Fournier, Cam Obi, 4 first-round picks for KD. Knicks would be contenders instantly. What I say is that Sean Marks and the Nets are not going to deal with the Knicks for KD. That's what I say.
Right.
I mean, I just
Right.
I don't see it.
You're gonna have to pay a tax,
Yeah,
so
it's
to
gonna be
speak,
a
as people
tax.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be a tax. If the Knicks want KD, they're gonna have to pay up significantly. You know what I mean? Then people are saying, right, I think in trading RJ right now, I think you could trade him, but you've got to, the team, it's something weird about with trading
Right.
RJ right now. The team has to pay a little bit more to trade for
Right.
RJ. The team that's accepting him, they have to, like right now he may only be making 11 million, but I think they have to send out money as if
Right.
they're
The
making
average of the rest of his contract, right?
right or something like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. And the Knicks can only take back 10.8 million
right.
because that's what his contract is. But the team that's bringing him in has to be able to absorb, I think, 23
Absorb
million.
23 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a little,
Yeah.
that's a little
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
With
The
the way that
summertime.
works.
The summertime. I already said I don't expect RJ Barrett to be on this team next season. I would be shocked.
Yeah, I was just talking with my brother, and I was like, with the way that Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are playing, if the Knicks are going to make a move for a star, it's looking like it's going to be RJ Barrett that moves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the way that it looks. We'll see. We'll see what the fallout is. We'll see what the fallout is. So for those who haven't heard, Kyrie Irving is on his way to Dallas. And I don't know when the next time the Dallas Mavericks suit up, but
Wow.
it'll be with Kyrie Irving as their starting guard. I don't know if it's a starting point guard because Luka, was that point guard spot, but a starting guard. So Kyrie Irving is on his way to the Dallas Mavericks. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Brooklyn Nets too, and how that, how everything falls loose. And of course, you're probably going to hear a lot of talk from fans about KD joining the Knicks.
I'd be shocked.
We'll see. I'd be shocked. I could see him ending up in Phoenix though, or a place like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Them trying to put. Yeah, I could see him ending up in Phoenix. I think they wanted to try to sign him over the summer, so I could see him ending up in a place like that.
Right.
And that would be, and of course, if I'm Leon Rose, I'm trying to get into something because that's going to be a big deal. To make it move. That's going to be a big deal. I'm trying to get into something and bring back what I need here to try to make that move forward.
Right.
See what happens from there, but whatever happens, I think, well, I don't know. The Nets could. How much does KD even make?
I'm not even sure. I'll
me
get
see.
it right now.
Let's see. But the Nets could, they could choose
43
43
million this season.
this season. 43 million this season, and then how much for the future?
Okay, let me go. Okay, so this year is 43. Next season, it's 46.6. Season after that, 49.8. And then his last season, 25-26, 53.2.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's
No, we're even near Dame. That ain't even approaching Dame.
I know, right? So yeah, so like, even if the Knicks were interested, they, you got to put together a lot of pieces to make that work.
42.
Just for that 43 million for one season. You know what I mean? You got to put together a lot of pieces to make it work. So,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, but
That's the entire team. That's like
right. I mean,
a quarter of the team.
Brunson and Randall barely make just above that. Brunson and Randall together make just above that this season.
Right.
So but there's going to be some other things that could be a fallout from this trade, right? From if they decide to trade KD, or they could try to ride it out and see how it looks with Spencer Dinwiddie. See how that works. I think they play together. They played together, didn't they?
Who's that?
KD and Spencer Dinwiddie?
I don't think so.
No, they didn't. I thought
On
maybe
Brooklyn?
yeah, I thought they played together for at least a season on Brooklyn, but maybe not.
What didn't he have? Maybe.
I don't remember. I thought maybe I don't even remember how long
He might have
he's
been hurt. They might have been on the team, but he might have been still hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
And I think he was traded in the offs.
Yeah, so in 2019, 2020, he was there with KD, but KD might have been hurt that year.
Okay.
Right? Maybe it was that year that he was hurt.
Okay.
Or I don't know, maybe he came 18, 19, KD. No, he came 19, 20, but KD was hurt that year.
Okay.
Right? That was the year that he went to Brooklyn. He was hurt. And Spencer Dinwiddie, he had a bunch of good games that year. And then the next year, he did play a little bit next year in 2021. I don't know how much he played with KD, but
okay.
But I mean, at least they've been in the locker room together, know each other in that aspect. So we'll see how it is. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna head up out of here. I will be on for the post game show. You know what I mean? If there's any other developments, we'll talk about it then.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt. Steph, anything you want to say, Steph? Oh, I do want to say, ladies and gentlemen, we got the Knicks versus Wizards tickets on February 24th. Please make sure you join us. It's $135 per ticket, section 114. All right, so make sure you come join us on February the 24th. Limited tickets. All right, so in the description of this video, you can get the tickets there. Click on the link. You can learn more about that game. It's in Washington, D.C., and we'll be having a pre and post game podcast and all of that. So make sure you come check us out. Have a DC takeover.
Yeah, I mean, what I will add to that, for those who don't want to go to the game or feel like the price is just not where they are right now, I would be willing to stay back and head up a watch party. And so then that way you could still do the pregame and the postgame podcast with us. And then while those who have tickets go to the game, we can stand right there. It's going to be at the same place, Em?
Same place. Guy Fieri's DC kitchen and bar. Yep.
Beautiful place to watch the game. Beautiful place to watch. And we can just hang back and just watch the game.
Yeah. It's connected to Capital One Arena.
Correct.
Yep. It's a beautiful place. So, you definitely want to be there and join us. Like I said, the link is in the description of the video. And, so as soon as we're done here, make sure you go check that out. Get the tickets. Join us there. And believe me, you won't be alone. There's tons of Knicks fans in D.C. The last time we did it, Guy Fieri's kitchen and bar was loaded with Knicks fans.
Yeah, it really was. It really was.
It was loaded with Knicks fans. People were walking out like, yeah, why the Knicks fans so deep? Da, 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 da. So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So make sure you join us, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, we're out of here. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you on the post-game show. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.